Good morning. I hereby call this meeting to order. We do have a couple of special guests today. From Senator Langford's office is Josh Sherem. Where's Josh? Entering the room in grand fashion is Mr. Sherem. All right, thank you. And Tom Robbins with Work Zone Safety. There we go. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here. Commission Secretary will please call the roll.
Mr. Coburn?
Coburn here.
Mr. Grimsley?
Grimsley here.
Mr. Shannon? Mr. Freimiller?
Freimiller here.
Mr. Dyson? Mr. Alexander?
Alexander here.
Mr. LaForge?
LaForge here.
Mr. Junk? Mr. Peterson?
Here. Thank you. Director Gatz, you are recognized to present.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, also, I think I saw Laramie Cochran follow Joshua in, so I want to shout out to her also. So
Okay, welcome.
really glad to have them with us this morning. With your permission, I'd like to invite Taylor Henderson to the podium to talk a little bit about an award we received.
Please.
Chairman, Commissioners, good morning, and thank you for letting us have a little time to come and present this award.
Good morning.
This is a nationwide award that we received here at ODOT. It is in recognition of our maintenance management system that we have. The Trimble Company is the one that supplies that service for us now. Our maintenance management system is a system that allows all of our maintenance yards, our 77 counties and our interstate yards to place their daily work orders into a system. We then in turn use that information to help better serve our customers, our citizens of Oklahoma. We're very proud to receive this. Again, we use all that information that they give us to improve efficiencies that we have any cost savings that we can have, that we can recognize, and again, just improve our overall systems that we use for maintenance work across the state. So greatly appreciate it. And again, it's a huge award for our maintenance people and our workers, again, in maintenance and in throughout the state that help us keep this machine rolling. So
Wonderful.
At this time, I think we would like to have a few come up to take a picture. Stephanie? I don't know if Alec, did he make it?
Sure.
Mr. Chairman, I also was just advised that Chairwoman Nicole Miller has joined us, so welcome her to the commission meeting.
Very good. Thank you. Welcome. Where are you?
So the maintenance management system that Taylor talked about that we received the award for is extremely important in our operations. One of the things that we've strived for across many years is the ability to be accountable and understand about how we're using every dollar that the taxpayers have entrusted us with. And I think the evolution of that maintenance management system and the capabilities of it reporting out and giving us meaningful information that we can run analytics against and understand what we're accomplishing, understand where we've got somebody that's doing something that is really, really efficient versus maybe some other area that's not quite as efficient. It lets us dig into that and again, gain some of that understanding. So very much appreciate the efforts of everybody involved that resulted in the department receiving that award. That's a big deal for us. So today is one day past the 50th anniversary of the building that we're standing in. So again, the Oklahoma Department of Highways office building, as it was known on October 6th in 1974, again was completed and dedicated here in Oklahoma City. So we've got a little bit of a historic Transportation Commission meeting this morning. The Ward building has served us exceptionally since then. And again, Dick Ward, who the building is named after, was a ODOT director extraordinaire, long tenured, and certainly did a great job, presided over many, many improvements to the highway system across the state of Oklahoma, and we thought it was worth recognizing the 50th anniversary. Again, Department of Highways eventually became the Ward Transportation Building as the department continued to evolve to include not just highways in our transportation portfolio, but other modes like rail. Certainly transit has become a big part of what we do, and just reflective of the evolution that we've had in transportation during that 50-year time period. So I appreciate the opportunity to recognize that this morning, Mr. Chairman.
Very good. Thank you, Director Gatz. Item 128 is approval of the minutes of the Transportation Committee meeting on September 9th, 2024. We have kind of an odd situation here where Commissioners Alexander, what's your name, Freimiller? and I were absent, so it leaves 3 people here, which is not enough. Our General Counsel, Sarah Penn, advises me to approve. So we can continue the approval of these minutes to the November 4th meeting. So there we go. The consent docket contains items 129 through 131. If the Commissioner would like to pull an individual item out for discussion, he may do so at this time. Oh, I'm sorry, we have to make a motion to continue? All right, thank you. So I'd like to ask for a motion to continue.
LaForge, so moved.
Okay, thank you.
Coburn,
And
second.
second by Alexander. Very good. All in favor, please vote. On the continuation, which we probably don't have programmed in here. Yeah, so
Coburn, yes.
Stephanie?
Yes.
Grimsley, yes.
Freimiller, yes.
Peterson, yes.
Alexander, yes.
LaForge, yes.
There we go. Very good, thank you. Okay, we good? Consent docket contains items 129 through 131. If any commissioner would like to pull an individual item out for discussion, he may do so at this time. Otherwise, I'll hear a motion for approval of the consent docket.
Coburn, so moved.
Thank you, and a second?
Freimiller, second.
Thank you very much. Any discussion? Please cast your vote. I'm sure the motion, yeah, there we go. Motion passes. Thank you. 132 is programming item. Mr. Hernandez, you are recognized to present.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners.
Morning.
Item 132 is a repair vehicle bridge impact damage. Location is in District 4, Oklahoma County. The department requests approval to program a project, excuse me, to repair vehicle impact damage to Sooner Road southbound over I-35 ramps located 4.5 miles north of the I-35 I-44 junction in Oklahoma County. The estimated cost of this project is $175,000 using state aid funds, and the project will be ready for the March 2025 letting. The party responsible for this damage is known and approval is recommended. I'll answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. You've heard the presentation. Do I have a motion for approval of item 132?
Freimauer approves.
Thank you. And a second?
Coburn second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All right, please cast your vote. Thank you. Motion passes. Item 133 is engineering contracts. Mr. Hernandez, you're recognized to continue.
Okay. Engineering contracts this month, I have 6 parts, 3 statewide and 3 project-specific. Part A is all district statewide on-demand environmental engineering services, including permitting, environmental site assessments, remedial planning, and oversight. The department has selected 5 firms to provide these services, intended to be utilized on an as-needed basis in support of the department staff. The firms are Altamira US, Intercon Services, Friesen Nichols, Kleinfelder, and Terracon Consultants Incorporated. The aggregate not to exceed for these 5 contracts is $1 million and will be task-driven as needed. Part B, all district statewide, on-demand NESHAP investigation analysis and project design air monitoring, lead-based paint surveys and indoor air quality assessments. The department has selected 4 firms to provide these services, intended to be utilized on an as-needed basis in support of the department staff. The firms are Intercon Services, Ensolum, Environmental Hazard Control Lab, and Terracon Consultants. The aggregate not to exceed amount for these 4 contracts is $600,000 and will be task-driven as needed. Part C, all district statewide on-demand bridge rehabilitation for the 8-year construction work plan. The department has selected 6 firms to provide these services, intended to be utilized on an as-needed basis in support of the department staff. The firms are Aguirre and Fields, Burgess and Nyepel, Garver, H.W. Lochner, NEO Design, and WSB. The aggregate not to exceed amount for these 6 contracts is $1,500,000 and will be task-driven as needed. Part D is located in District 3, Seminole County. The department has selected Kimley Horn and Associates Incorporated to prepare construction plans for State Highway 9 over Tiger Creek and Unnamed Creeks, 4.9 and 5.0 miles east of State Highway 99 respectively. The proposed project improvements are to reconstruct, rehabilitate existing facility, replace bridge on existing alignment, and add shoulders to a 2-lane road. Services include environmental, geotechnical investigations, pavement design, utilities, preliminary and final design, and will culminate in the submittal of plan specifications and estimates. The contract value is not to exceed $928,505, and the project is included in the 8-year construction work plan with a scheduled let date in federal fiscal year 2028. Part E is in District 5, Kiowa County. The department has selected MKEC Engineering Incorporated to prepare construction plans for the State Highway 44, beginning 0.15 miles southwest of the State Highway 44A, State Highway 44 junction, and extending northeast approximately 2.15 miles. Proposed project improvements are to replace bridge on existing alignment. The services include environmental, geotechnical investigations, pavement design, utilities, preliminary and final design, and will culminate in the submittal of plan specifications and estimates. Contract value is not to exceed $933,370. Project is included in the 8-year construction work plan with a scheduled let date in federal fiscal year 2029. And finally, Part F, District 8, Ottawa County. The department has selected Garver LLC to prepare construction plans for State Highway 137 from US 60 to State Highway 10. Proposed project improvements are to add shoulders to a 2-lane road. Services include survey, geotechnical investigations, pavement design, utilities, preliminary and final design, and will culminate in the submittal of plan specifications and estimates. The contract value is not to exceed $1,787,650, and the project is included in the 8-year construction work plan with a scheduled let date in federal fiscal year 2029. Approval is recommended for all those contracts, and I'll answer any questions you might have.
You've heard the presentation. Do I have a motion for approval of item 133?
So moved, Grimsley.
Thank you.
LaForge, second.
Second. Thank you. Any discussion? Thank you. Please cast your vote. Measure passes. Thank you very much, Mr. Hernandez. You're recognized to continue.
Okay.
Item 134.
Item 134 is engineering contract supplements. There are 7 parts, 1 statewide and 6 project-specific. Part A is all districts statewide on-demand engineering for Americans with Disabilities Act. This is the first supplement. The department previously selected 6 consulting firms to provide these services. They are as follows: Consor Engineers, Cowan Group Engineering, Kimley Horn and Associates, Park Hill Smith and Cooper, R.L. Shears Company, and Smith Roberts Balchweiler. Total aggregate increase for these contract supplements is $1,500,000. Part B is District 1, Okmulgee County, Supplement Number 1. The department previously authorized CEC Corporation to perform preliminary engineering and prepare construction plans for US 75 from US 62 north, 1.02 miles to the State Highway 56 junction. The proposed project improvements are to reconstruct, rehabilitate the existing facility, and add sidewalks. The supplement is for additional engineering to develop final construction plans and is not to exceed $61,000. The project is included in the 8-year construction work plan with a scheduled let date in federal fiscal year 2027. Part C is in District 4, Grant and Kay counties. This is the first supplement. The department previously authorized Garver LLC to perform preliminary engineering and prepare construction plans for State Highway 11 from the State Highway 74 junction extending east to the Kay County line, and State Highway 11 from the Grant County line extending east to I-35. Proposed project improvements are to reconstruct, rehabilitate existing facility, and add shoulders to a 2-lane road. This supplement is for additional engineering to develop final construction plans and is not to exceed $62,209. The 2 projects are included in the 8-year construction work plan with scheduled let dates in federal fiscal years 2029 and 2026. Part D, District 4, Kingfisher County, Supplement Number 2. The department previously authorized MacArthur Associated Consultants, LLC, to perform preliminary engineering and prepare construction plans for US 81 northbound and southbound bridges over the UP Railroad, located 5.3 miles north of State Highway 33. The proposed project improvements are to replace the bridges on existing alignment and geometric improvements. This supplement is for additional engineering to develop final construction plans and is not to exceed $392,591. The project is included in the 8-year construction work plan with a scheduled let date in federal fiscal year 2026. Part E, District 4, Logan County, Supplement 4. The department has previously authorized MacArthur Associated Consultants, LLC, to prepare construction plans for I-35 beginning 3 miles north of US 77 and extend north 2.2 miles in Guthrie. Proposed project improvements are to reconstruct, rehabilitate the existing facility, add capacity to roadway, geometric improvements, intersection modification, and replace bridge on existing alignment. The supplement is for additional engineering to develop final construction plans and is not to exceed $338,362. The 2 projects are included in the 8-year construction work plan with scheduled let date in federal fiscal year 2029. Part F, District 4, Logan County, Supplement Number 1. The department has previously authorized Jacobs Engineering Group to prepare construction plans for State Highway 51 from State Highway 74 and extending east 8 miles to approximately 2.5 miles west of US 77 and State Highway 51. I'm sorry, let me say that again. Prepare construction plans from State Highway 74 extending east 8 miles to approximately 2.5 miles west of US 77 and State Highway 51 from 8 miles east of the State Highway 74 North 3120 Road and extending east to US 77. The proposed project improvements are to add shoulders to a 2-lane road. This supplement is for additional engineering to develop final construction plans and is not to exceed $29,823. The 2 projects are included in the 8-year construction work plan with a scheduled let date in federal fiscal year 2030. And finally, District 4, Logan County, this is the first supplement. The department has previously authorized Hudson Prince Engineering and Inspection to prepare construction plans for State Highway 74 from the junction of State Highway 74C and extending north 8 miles to the intersection of State Highway 74 and East 0650 Road, and State Highway 74 from East 0650 Road approximately 8 miles north to State Highway 74C, extending north to the Garfield County line. proposed project improvements are to add shoulders to a two-lane road. The supplement is for additional engineering to develop final construction plans and is not to exceed $12,809. The two projects are included in the 8-year construction work plan with the scheduled let date in federal fiscal year 2031. Approval is recommended for all those parts, and I'll answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez. You have heard the presentation. Do I have a motion for approval?
Motion approved.
Thank you. For 134 it is. And a second?
Second, Alexander.
Thank you, Commissioner Alexander. Any discussion? Thank you. Please vote. Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Hernandez. Item 135 is change orders with cumulative total of $150,000 or less. This is for information only. You are recognized to present.
Derek McIntosh.
Sorry. Thank you very much, Mr. McIntosh.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. I'd like to present item number 135, parts A through double Q. These are the change orders on projects which have a cumulative total of change orders, cumulative value under $150,000 or less. This item is presented for your information. No action is necessary, but I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Excuse me. Thank you. If there are no questions, Mr. McIntosh, you're recognized to present item 136, change orders with cumulative totals greater than $150,000.
I'd like to present item number 136, parts A through double F. These are the change orders on projects which have a cumulative total of change orders greater than $150,000. Your approval is recommended, and I'd be glad to answer any questions you may have.
And these were discussed in some detail in my earlier subcommittee meeting. So you've heard the presentation. Do I have a motion for approval of item 136?
So moved.
Thank you.
Coburn.
Thank you, Commissioner Coburn. And a second?
Second, LaForge.
Thank you very much. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes. Thank you very much. Item 137 is negotiated settlement of contractors' claim exceeding statutory limits. Mr. Davis, you are recognized to present.
Morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Item 137 is a negotiated settlement of a contractor's claim and the exceedance of the statutory limits as a result. This is going to be in District 8 in Pawnee County. This bridge rehabilitation contract, located on Old Keystone Road over US 64 in District 8, Pawnee County, was awarded by the Oklahoma Transportation Commission on May 1st, 2023 to Paradigm Construction and Engineering for a total contract amount of $2,643,903.35. Contract time was 240 calendar days. As the bridge deck was being removed, significant deterioration was noted on the existing diaphragms, abutment piling, and in the beam splice plates. Each of these discoveries was reported to ODOT Bridge Division, which subsequently provided guidance and direction to make the needed repairs. Because there was a duration of time between the discoveries, the analysis and recommendations, and the time needed to procure materials to make the repairs, the contractor schedule was significantly affected, and standby compensation, as allowed in Section 109.10 of the standard specifications, was requested. Through analysis and negotiation, the department has agreed that the contractor is entitled to a settlement in the amount of $248,163.57 and 63 days of contract time. Because this total will result in the contract exceeding the statutorily allowed 10% increase in new items, it is necessary that the Commission approve this settlement in order to properly compensate the contractor. ODOT recommends approval of this item, and I will do my best to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Davis, and this also was discussed extensively in our subcommittee meeting this morning, so we are okay with it. Do I have a motion for approval of item 137?
Move for approval, Coburn.
Thank you, and a second?
Second, Alexander.
Thank you, and any discussion? All right, please cast your vote. Motion passes. Thank you very much, Mr. Davis. Item 138 is Transportation Alternative Projects. Mr. Mitchell, you are recognized to present.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman.
Good morning.
The Transportation Alternative Program provides federal funding for programs and projects defined as transportation alternatives, including pedestrian and bicycle facilities, community improvement activities, safe routes to school projects, and other related activities. Awards are based on a competitive application process developed by the department with funding made available by the Federal Highway Administration. The department and the Transportation Alternative Advisory Committee evaluated and scored 88 applications from eligible sponsors statewide. The committee has selected 43 projects totaling $35,768,349.83 to participate in the 2024 Transportation Alternative Program. Approval is recommended.
Thank you very much. You've heard the presentation. Do I have a motion for approval of item 138?
LaForge, move for approval.
Thank you, and a second?
Second, Coburn.
Thank you. Any discussion? Please cast your vote. Motion passes. Thank you very much, Mr. Mitchell. Item 139 is Asset Preservation Plan. This is for information only. Mr. Dudgeon, you are recognized to present.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Item 139, the Asset Preservation Plan. The department has presented the department has completed the proposed Asset Preservation Plan with consideration for the critical needs of Oklahoma's transportation infrastructure and the financial constraint mandated by the projected federal and state funding availability. The work plan is balanced by district within the budgetary limitations of state fiscal years 2025 through 2028. The encompassed projects have been defined, validated, and included in accordance with the transportation needs and priorities of the state. This item is presented as information only, but I'd be happy to take any questions you may have.
Do commissioners have any questions or comments? All right. Thank you. Item 140 is 8-year construction work plan. Mr. Dudgeon, you are recognized to continue.
Yes, sir. The department has completed the proposed 8-year construction work plan with consideration for the critical needs of Oklahoma's transportation infrastructure and the financial constraint mandated by the projected federal and state funding availability. The work plan is balanced by district within the budgetary limitations of federal fiscal years 2025 through 2032. The encompassed projects have been defined, validated, and included in accordance with the transportation needs and priorities of the state. The department will ensure the long-term budgetary integrity of the plan and the continuity of the projects through the active management of the project development and delivery process. Approval is recommended.
Thank you. You've heard the presentation. Do I have a motion for approval of item 140?
So moved, Grimsley.
Thank you. And a second?
Second, Frymiller.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I just want to point out that this was one of the more sobering 8-year rebalances because of inflation. It's killing us on our budgets, and I think this is going to require some really serious conversations in our legislature and beyond, because we're fighting a losing battle because of inflation right now.
Absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely correct.
Commissioner, I believe that Director Gatz is going to do a significant amount of discussion over that very topic whenever
Right.
he gets to give his presentation.
Yeah, that's coming up.
Yes, sir.
And also, these plans are reviewed, each district generally with Chief Taylor and the district engineers in detail. They came to our offices, and so we went into some detail for a multi-hour meeting. So I think it's been carefully vetted. Obviously, a lot of money, and we take it quite seriously. So do I have a motion for approval of item 140? See, I already had the motion. I have a second. Excuse me. Can't read my Sarah's writing here. And we've had a discussion, so please cast your vote. Yeah.
Appreciate your time,
You're
gentlemen.
spot on. Thank you very much. Motion carries. Item 141 is proposed bid openings. Ms. Williams, you are recognized to present.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the commission. I'm presenting item 141, proposed bid openings, which consist of the final November 2024 and tentative January 2025 bid openings. The department recommends approval. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. You've heard the presentation. Do I have a motion for approval of item 141?
So moved, Coburn.
Thank you. And a second?
Frymiller, second.
And any discussion? Please cast your vote. Motion passes. Thank you very much. Item 142 is awards. Mr. Goka, you are recognized to present.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Item 142 is the awards for the September 2024 bid openings. It will be in two parts. Part A is from the September 12th regular bid opening. It is recommended that the following items from the September 12th, 2024 bid opening referred to by call order be awarded. 95, 100, 110, 127, 140, 150, 155, 160, 165, 166, and 180. Part B, from the September 19th regular bid opening. It is recommended that the following items from the September 19th, 2024 bid opening referred to by call order be awarded. 206, 215, 220, 221, 235, 240, 245, 250, and 260. It is recommended that the following items from the September 19th, 2024 bid opening referred to by call order be rejected. 222. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, before I request your approval, I would like to request the Chief Engineer, Mr. Taylor, to issue a statement.
Yes, thank you.
Morning, Mr. Chairman,
Good morning,
Commissioners.
Chief Taylor.
I can't read Sarah's writing either, so
Well, it's quite clear, actually. It was my own fault.
I want to call to your attention Call Order 166. It's the I-44 and US 75 interchange in Tulsa. It's the largest project in terms of overall item and time at $292,825,000, and the second longest project in terms of duration at 1,165 days. That is the largest that the Transportation Commission has previously considered. The project was competitively bid, with three bidders being separated by 3.3%. The two low bids were within a margin of less than 0.5%. The low bidder's time bid included a reduction of 130 days in B milestone time for completion, thereby limiting the time of construction and disruption to traffic. The overall low bidder was not the low item bidder. The time bid reversed the order of the two lowest bids. After thorough review and careful consideration, we believe the bids reflect the actual cost to complete this much-needed project. We recommend your award, and I stand for questions.
Yeah, thank you, Chief Taylor. Chief Taylor met with each of the subcommittees this morning also and went over this project, and it's been studied extensively. As he said, the second bid was within 0.5%,
Yes,
I
sir.
believe. Yeah, so we think we got a good bid on a very big project. So thank you. All right. You've heard the presentation. Do I have a motion for approval of item 142?
LaForge, so moved.
Thank you. And a second?
Coburn, second.
And any discussion? Thank you. Please cast your vote. Thank you. The motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Goka. Item 143 is the Director's Report. Director Gatz, you are recognized to present.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, very much appreciate your consideration of the 8-year construction work plan today. Certainly, as Commissioner Grimsley points out, inflation is something that has, in my experience, uniquely impacting us of late. You know, when you do a quick look at the National Highway Construction Cost Index that's created by Federal Highway Administration, and it's a nationwide index, from 2021 first quarter to first quarter of 2024, we're seeing inflation at about 68%. When you consider that if you just average that, it's about 17% a year. That's an inflationary spike that we haven't seen in modern times. That makes it doubly challenging for us to try to keep pace with something like that, with the estimate adjustments and especially when it comes time to rebalance the 8-year work plan and create funding projections that we've got some level of confidence in, and then give that back to our district engineers for them to try to assemble projects that meet the needs of their districts. And to their credit, they've done an exceptional job. All 8 districts, the guys put a lot of effort into the rebalance this year, as they always do, but they stared into the face of the challenge and took that very seriously. What that results in is, we're going to see some projects move around a little bit in the context of the delivery schedules. But all in all, from the standpoint of maintaining commitments to priorities, safety, always number one, and then really considering what's happening out on our highway system, whether it's a rural 2-lane highway that doesn't have safety shoulders, or whether it's travel time reliability and congestion issues in the urban areas. They did a good job of maintaining that balance. I would also be remiss if I did not recognize the Oklahoma State Legislature for their contribution to the Rural Economic Transportation Reliability and Optimization Fund. For the second year, they provided $200 million in one-time money that shows up in this 8-year construction work plan. The criticality of the timing of that one-time commitment with inflationary pressure like we're seeing, I cannot undervalue. And specifically, Representative Nicole Miller and her advocacy for all things transportation, and Chairman John Hast on the Senate side, just represented exceptionally for continuing investment and increasing investment, as they always do, for transportation. And again, those additional dollars really helped us keep things in balance this year. So congratulations to all involved in putting this together. Again, appreciate and thanks to the Transportation Commission for your consideration and the time that you devote to sitting with us and understanding what's going on, with the funding projections, et cetera. So thank you for that, and thank you for your approval of the 8-year plan. The 8-year plan is what I would call, you get a lot of life cycle improvement for an 8-year work plan project. The asset preservation plan is kind of the second part of our investment strategy, and it's heavier maintenance type projects. We present it for your information because it has to have a lot of fluidity in that plan, because things change out there on the system from time to time, and we might have to reprioritize things on the fly with the asset preservation plan. But again, that's another very important part of our investment strategy. And most importantly, whether you're talking 8-year plan or asset preservation plan, each of those reflects the department's commitment, and it's part of our communication strategy back with the public. They need to have an understanding of the challenges we're dealing with, and then what our commitments are and where they are. And again, appreciate all the work that goes into that. The Transportation Alternatives Program, TAP, about $35 million going to 43 projects statewide. And, those transportation alternative projects have become a really important part of what the department does, especially when you talk about the intermodal aspect of them, because what you're primarily into there is trail systems and sidewalk improvements and things like that. Those projects are very well received across the state and really represent those partnerships between the department and local governmental entities. So again, very much appreciate your consideration and approval of that. At the federal level, we have a continuing resolution that was passed by the Congress that will carry us through December the 20th. Very much appreciated. Government shutdown averted. That yields about $150 million, maybe a little bit more, in that continuing resolution as part of our federal funding program. And again, I'd remind you that the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act was approved back in late 2020, and we are still under that highway authorization, right? So not new money. There seems to be some misinformation that goes out about this time of year as we start the new federal fiscal year every year, not new money. These are dollars that were committed in Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. And again, we have a continuing resolution now that applies to the appropriation side towards that authorizing legislation. Gets us out of the starting blocks. We look forward to the Congress taking up, what's next, probably after the election. And again, but at least we can keep things going here in the near term. The Randall Street Bridge opening, want to touch on that. August 17th, Randall Street Bridge over I-40 in Elk City was impacted by an overhyped vehicle. That caused a closure of Randall Street. We had to consider about a $670,000 emergency contract, and contractor Flame On was able to get in and take care of that, the beam problem that we had with that bridge after it was impacted. Those repairs were completed on September 21, and we were able to get Randall Street back open. And that's a major deal for especially the community of Elk City, a primary connector from one side of I-40 to the other. And we were glad to get that project done and back open. Want to talk for a minute about the Heartland Flyer game day train and the I-35 game traffic. I think I mistakenly referred to that in one of the pre-meetings this morning as Bedlam. And then after I got to thinking about it, that may be to some extent a new Bedlam. But it's Red River rivalry, and we're less than 2 weeks away. Limited tickets for the Heartland Flyers big game train are still available. The Flyer lets fans avoid I-35 football game day traffic congestion and gets them down there by an alternative mode. They can take the game train to Dallas Friday morning. The trip to Fort Worth on Saturday is now full, so it's a sellout. That translates to about 274 passengers, and we're really excited to have that level of participation and that many folks taking advantage of that opportunity to get down there and get to the game. We've worked with Amtrak to push back the Flyers' schedule to leave Dallas Saturday night, and we've pushed that back to 8 p.m. on Saturday for the return to Oklahoma City. And then again, there's certainly still an opportunity to check if you're going to come back Sunday evening for tickets to get back. If driving, I-35 projects are taking place near Goldsby and at Thackerville. They should not affect game day traffic. We're going to do what we can to keep 2 lanes of traffic open all the way down on the Oklahoma side, and I believe Texas will follow suit. We want to minimize those impacts to traffic as much as we can, but we would ask the traveling public to pay attention in those work zones, because there'll still be work zones, and traffic will be slowed even though we're going to have 2 lanes open. Also, I'd remind everybody about the Drive Oklahoma app, and that can help you keep track of what traffic conditions are like out there on that drive down, and really helps everybody kind of plan their route, plan their trips. Some of the upcoming work that we've got going on that will be impactful to the traveling public: I-40 and the bridge rehab project over Interstate 44. Out here, we commonly refer that to that interchange as the Amarillo Junction or the Mathis Brothers interchange. So it's right out here on I-40 at I-44. We're going to rehab the east and westbound bridges on I-40, and that interchange, those bridges themselves carry about 120,000 cars a day. We're going to work with the contractor to minimize the impact to traffic the best we can. But it will be a major traffic impact regardless. We will also look at doing creative things like night work to try to minimize peak period impacts. We're tentatively expecting that to begin in spring of 2025. So as we get closer to that, we will start putting out more information about what that work zone is going to look like and how it's going to be configured. Should be a relatively short-term project, about 6 months to complete. And that sets the stage for a much larger improvement that'll go on within that interchange. Again, it's going to take us multi-phases to address some of the problems in there, but we'll start to work from the outside movements around that interchange and work our way in. with these bridges being targeted in the future at some point for full replacement. So that's, again, next step on the path to getting that interchange fixed. I-44 and US 75, Brian certainly gave a good description about, you know, what went on with the bidding part of that. Again, largest contract that we've ever awarded, almost the longest time frame. We've put a lot of mechanisms in there to try to minimize the impacts to the traveling public, including that time bid. And we have a very high level of confidence in the bids that we received. We, again, probably came up a little bit short in our estimating on some of the items, and I don't think we paid enough attention to the risk that was going to have to be bid into that during an 1,100-plus day construction contract. So again, we've got a high level of confidence. About 2.5+ years to complete. Work is likely going to start in spring of 2025. And one other thing that I want to call attention to is this was a project that had an $85 million federal grant that was included in it that really made it possible for us to pull together several phases of that interchange project that made a lot of sense. We get a lot of questions about the ODOT Stonehenge up there, and this is the project that's going to put some of the infrastructure onto those columns and piers that are up there. So look forward to getting that started. In the context of a federal grant, and I know we've got a couple of our congressional staffers in the room with us today, but I specifically want to call out the support that Senator Langford, Senator Mullen, and Congressman Hearn in particular have, because we don't get a discretionary grant like that without their full support, and for that matter, the full support of our entire congressional delegation. When you look at the magnitude of an investment like this in infrastructure, it's something we've all got to get behind and really stay focused on. We work very closely with the congressional delegation to make sure they understand, what our needs are and what's going on, especially when we're asking for some help in the form of a discretionary grant. So appreciate their support as always. From a safety campaign this month, we thought it was very appropriate to focus on pedestrian safety. With Halloween coming up, we'll see a lot of little ones running around the neighborhoods, and thought it was a good idea to call particular attention to that. But pedestrian safety in general is a growing concern out there on all the streets, county roads and highways that we need to be paying attention to. Between 2017 and 2021, Oklahoma saw 326 pedestrian fatalities, which is way too many. We've got to be cognizant and look for pedestrians everywhere. They may not be walking where they should be. They could be hard to see, and especially in poorly lit conditions, dusk, dawn, and night, and inclement weather. Pedestrian fatalities don't always occur in the crosswalk. Again, you can have someone that is walking on the shoulder of a highway, a motorist that's experienced a flat tire or a problem with their vehicle and find themselves outside their vehicle. Too many times we're seeing those individuals get struck while they're disabled on the side of the road, and we've got to be prepared for that, paying attention. And a big part of that is putting away distractions, paying attention to what's in front of you. Impairment is another cause, and 75% of pedestrian fatalities occur after dark, and 48% of those fatalities nationwide involve alcohol consumption, either by the driver or the pedestrian. So again, we want people to be in their best condition when they're behind the wheel. We'd ask for them to pay attention to what's in front of them, including I'll be on the lookout for pedestrians because they often show up in places that are unexpected. So again, just as a reminder, and again with Halloween coming up, school being back in session, pay particular attention, in your own neighborhood in a lot of places coming up. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I would be happy to answer any questions that the commission might have of me, and appreciate your consideration today.
Thank you. Any questions or comments for Director Gatz? No? All right. Thank you very much. If Commissioner, please, James.
Oh,
no. Don?
Mr. Chairman, I have a comment it's not directed to the director, but I'd just like to make a comment, if you don't mind, on the 69% inflation of, is just a shocking number to me, and I'm having trouble just getting it into my head. And being as we have state and federal representatives, I believe the general public should be made aware of this, and I'd like to see the general public knows what's going on with this inflation number, not just among us. And so I say that with representatives in the audience.
Understand. I think they heard you loud and clear, and everybody feels it. You stop McDonald's now, quarter pound and fries and something is like $12, $13. Anyway, I run into Commissioner Coburn every now and then at McDonald's on the way back to town. So, now regardless, it's affected us in our business and our home and families and electricity rates and everything else. So it's a nasty condition that our Federal Reserve believes they're getting their arms around, but it certainly affected all of us. There are no other comments. I hear a motion for item 144, which is adjournment.
So moved, Grimsley.
Thank you. In a second,
Second, Coburn.
Commissioner Coburn, thank you. Please cast your vote. Motion passes. We are adjourned.